How's it, guys? My name is Rico Hutting, and with me is two of my fighters, and today we are going to explain to you and show you a little bit what MMA is all about. MMA stands for Mixed Martial Arts. The reason for that is because in a fight or self-defense situation, you will have either the stand-up part, which normally is the kickboxing or the boxing, and then you'll look at the takedown part, which is normally judo or wrestling, and of course the ground part is where most fights end up, and that is normally the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or the judo. So today I'm going to introduce you. I've got Adrian over here with me and Joshua, two of my fighters, and we're going to show you a little bit about MMA. Now, just one thing, there's also Jiu-Jitsu and submission wrestling. Now, the difference between mixed martial arts and Jiu-Jitsu or submission wrestling is that with MMA, I can strike, I can punch and kick, standing or on the ground, and I can do all my other movements that I normally do in Jiu-Jitsu. But specifically with Jiu-Jitsu or submission wrestling, no punches is allowed. So there's also specifically in Jiu-Jitsu a no-gi as well as a gi. So with the no-gi you have normal clothes on, and with the gi you have the suit on with a belt. So normally with the no-gi you're not allowed to grab the other guy's clothes, but with the gi you of course can grab, similar to judo. So let's start off in our fighting stance, guys. Okay guys, so of course, like you can see, this is the two various stances. So let's just, for this specific occasion, just switch your stance please, Josh. So you also have an orthodox. In other words, he's now putting his left foot to the front and he's exactly on the same line as Adrian. Now, what we don't want in MMA, remember, in MMA, there's a lot of stuff that you can do. It is not only boxing and it's not only kickboxing. Let's have a look a little bit. In boxing, they would be okay to get closer to each other. Okay, because the only thing that can happen is they can punch the body or they can punch the head. Okay? And if they clinch each other or hold each other, the ref will break them up. That's how boxing normally works. In kickboxing, however, there's a little bit more of a distance. Okay? And now there's kicks coming to the legs, so that's why they have this distance, and also the hands is slightly higher because the kicks can now also come to the head as well. With MMA, there's takedowns as well. So in MMA, the stance is a little bit further away from each other because now you have the punches, the kicks, the knees, as well as the takedowns. Okay. Also, the boxing stance or the boxing with your arms like this is not applicable for MMA. MMA, it's a little bit more closer to the head and the hands come up higher because you have to take into consideration elbows, anything that can happen. Now, the nice thing about MMA is that you can use MMA outside in the street if someone attacks you, because you don't want to attack someone, you just want to use it as self-defense, of course. But if you're only a boxer and you only know boxing, you are going to be limited in a self-defense situation, because what if someone takes you down, for example? So MMA, I believe, is a great tool for self-defense. So let's carry on. They've got the different stances over here, or away from each other, okay? And the hands is a bit higher up, Josh. Right, so let's have a look. Exactly the same thing that happens in boxing and kickboxing. They can also throw the jab to each other. So Coach Adrian, please throw a jab. There you go. Remember, they are wary to get too close because there's kicks and takedowns that can happen. We can also look at the 1-2, Josh. So jab, cross. Yes. And then, of course, we can look at the jab, cross, left hook. Coach Adrian. There we go. Okay, so everything that we do in boxing and kickboxing is applicable in MMA, but the stances and the distance and the range is a little bit different. Okay, which brings us now to the kicks. So of course, let's say Josh throws a jab and a right kick. He needs to be careful when he throws this kick because Coach Adrian can catch the leg. Let's look at it. And he can take him down, which in kickboxing sometimes is allowed in Muay Thai, but you cannot follow up after the guy fell down, so the ref will stand them back up. In mixed martial arts, when they take the guy down, you can follow up and you can carry on going. Let's have a look at that. So just throw a jab kick, catch the leg, and take him down, and follow up with punches. So that is the difference between the various styles. And what I like about mixed martial arts, as I've said before, it's really going to help you in a self-defense situation. Whether you want to do it just for fitness, whether you want to just explore the world of MMA, or whether you want to be an excellent fighter in the UFC one day perhaps, this is what you need to do and you can only find this here at reps. Let's quickly have a look at what else we can do. So let's say Josh throws that punching combination and the kick, and Adrian takes him down. Let's have a look at that. There you go. Okay, now from here, Adrian can go what we call for a leg lock. So he can just wrap the foot, he can sit down, and you can use his whole body. Make sure the leverage point is over here, stepping so Josh cannot get closer to him. Okay, he's on the Achilles tendon over here, which is a tendon which is very sensitive, and he's got the grip with both his hands, and he simply just drives in and puts a lot of pressure on the ankle, and Josh is forced to tap out, as we call it. Okay, let's have a look at a few other moves that we can do. Josh, you can stay down. Now, normally in self-defense or in a situation, the worst thing you can do when you're on the ground is to turn around and face your back to someone. And so if you go to your knees, Josh, to try and stand up. This is the worst thing that can happen, because this guy can go and really punch you and hurt you. So what we teach for self-defense in MMA is to use what we call your guard. Now, this is also a guard when you stand, but on the ground your guard is a bit different. So let's look at the guard again. So instead of turning over and standing up so that your back is exposed to the guy, to the attacker, you use your legs and your arms. So you've basically got your primary guard and your secondary guard to block your hands. So it's very difficult for him just to get past his legs if he knows how to move his hips. Let's have a look at that a little bit. Try to get past his legs. Okay, so as you can see, it's not that easy if someone is trained and he knows what he's doing. So brilliant for self-defense, no matter who you are. And also you can use these feet of his to kick. You can also, if the guy bends forward, kick up if need be to the head in a self-defense situation, okay? And then you can also do what we call a sweep. You can sweep him down so that he can eventually get up and maybe get away. Or in a fight situation, get the top advantage position. Okay, let's look at one or two other things now. So Josh, please lie down. Now let's say you pass the guard. Okay, you go into what we call side control. Okay, side control is a very nice controlling position. We also have what we call the mount position. So when Adrian steps over into the mount position, whereas with the side control he's flat on the guy, and with the mount he's sitting up, he's got elevation. And when you have elevation, you are in a good place to talk to the guy or punch the guy or block, whatever you'd like to do. Okay, so let's have a look at one of the moves that we can do from here. Let's take a look at the Americana bent arm lock. He controls the head, he separates the arm from Josh's body, and he does a little shoulder lock over here by twisting the body, and Josh has to give him a tap. Of course, Adrian will then stop the move. So let's say he's doing that. Another thing that we can do for Josh to defend himself is to do one big bridge, as we call it. So Josh can lift his body up with the feet that he's got available, and of course try and tip Adrian right over. Yes. Okay, and of course then the game has changed, because now the guy that was defending, he's on top, and he's in a much better position from here. Okay, let's have a look again at, this is a typical example, just do that again please, of primary guard is the legs around the body to keep him away, and the secondary guard is with his arms to block should Josh try to punch him in a situation like that. So it's very important, just like you do in boxing and kickboxing, to block as well, but only now you're on the ground. Okay, can we just turn this way, guys, so that Adrian, your head is facing this way. Okay, so from the guard position, remember, he doesn't have the mount position anymore. Okay, he had it before, but now Adrian's got his legs around his body, so the primary guard is there. From this situation, Adrian, who you might think is in a bad spot, or the defense guy, is going to actually be offensive and attack the guy on top, who you might think is the attacker. Okay, so let's have a look at the arm bar, as it's called. Okay, so Coach Adrian will do the arm lock, or the arm bar. Okay, and then of course, you can push him right over. Now, the nice thing about this technique is that no matter how strong or big you are, your arm is not as strong as someone's whole body. So even if you're a small, weaker person, you can defend yourself against a larger attacker or stronger attacker by doing this lock, because your whole body is on this arm. Let's have a look at how he extends the arm with his body, and Josh that taps out. Okay, and then last one is from what we call back mount. Okay, so Coach Adrian, you can sit behind him. Josh, on your bottom. Just sit flat on your bottom, yeah. Okay, and normally what we have over here is what we call a seat belt. Again, it's almost like the guard. He's got his legs wrapped around the body, and he's also got his arms to control this person. Okay, so from here, you can use the overarm to go for the rear naked choke, as it's called in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, and he squeezed. It's just a stranglehold, and when Josh taps, he lets him go. Okay, so he's not hurting him in any way. It's just simply a nice technique to do. Now, from there, of course, the underarm can be used for the arm lock again. So as he goes from here, he's just going to slip into the straight arm lock again, the one that I showed you previously on, where the whole body is on the one arm. Okay, thanks guys. Okay guys, so as you can see, this is very effective techniques, but what I showed you today was very basic. There is a lot more details involved with all these techniques, but I'll show you again some more tips in the days to come. But if you'd like to learn some more tricks from us, please come and visit us here at Reps MMA, CrossFit Edward Street.